It's the gift that keeps on giving. Today we're talking about the Vancouver Canucks and their salary cap situation heading into tonight's game against the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I'm going to be honest right here up front, I'm not going to be able to watch tonight's game. I will have my own hockey game to play that takes place from about 7-ish to 9, so the Vancouver Canucks game unfortunately will not be in my crosshairs, but what I wanted to do in this video was talk about some segments posted by the Donnie and Dolly Twitter account from earlier in today's show. Long story short, this video, which will be linked in the description, is talking about Canucks forward Dakota Joshua, and Rick Dhaliwal gives an update as to what Joshua's overall market value could be. Take a look at the quote that is in the tweet. He will get over $3 million, folks, on July 1st. And there's an extra conversation that is brought up afterwards. Oh, who's going to give it to him? Could it be Vancouver? Could it be some other team? There's a lot going on here when it comes to the Canucks and Dakota Joshua. But really, this is one of those situations where when you acknowledge what the Canucks have in this player, there's a reason why Rick Dhaliwal goes out there on the program and says that Joshua is the #1 UFA that the team needs to go out there and sign. Joshua is 27 years old, 6'3", 205, big, left-handed guy who is signed on till the end of this season making $825,000. Initially a fifth-round pick by the Toronto Maple Leafs in 2014, Joshua was an up-and-down tweener in the USHL to NCAA and the AHL and the ECHL. He never really broke out offensively, especially with his St. Louis Blues team, which he was a part of 2 seasons ago. He had 8 points with the regular Blues in 30 games played and was a rough point-per-game-ish guy in the playoffs with the Springfield Thunderbirds, but he became a free agent. Patrick Allvin signed him. He had 23 points in 79 games played last year, and this year he's got 28 points in 55 games. Do the math over 82 because Joshua did miss a good chunk of the year, and Joshua's point production for this season is roughly around the 40-ish point mark, which is just an astounding number for a guy who's only making $825,000. Now, the thing is here with Joshua, the fact that he is pretty old, he is in his prime, so to speak, and he is going to be on the free agent market if the Canucks are not able to sign him, this is pure ammo for him to go out there and get an absolute payday. Dhaliwal opens up the video talking about how the Canucks initially wanted to re-sign Dakota at a $2-point-something million cap hit, but how that's not going to happen anymore. He's too good, he's too versatile, he's too useful in the lineup to settle for anything under 3. And with his agent going out there and taking advantage of the multi-goal games and the multi-point games and the play on the third line, how he does on the power play, etc., there's so much here for Dakota Joshua to get the bag, whether it is with Vancouver or with some other team. Now, I get it. It's easy to look at Dakota and say, wait a minute, the Canucks, all they got to do is shell out $3 million, just sign Dakota Joshua, do it. But the problem is, you don't know necessarily if Dakota Joshua, signed on for the next 4 seasons or so, is going to be the same Joshua that we have seen this season, or if he's going to, let's just say, fall back a little bit. Because once in a while, we do see these middling, bottom 6 guys who are very good, very capable, and very skilled at their jobs get extensions with the Vancouver Canucks or get contracts with the Canucks and completely disappear off the face of the earth in terms of their effectiveness. We had seen multiple examples like this over the years in the Antoine Roussels, the Jay Beagles, and the Jason Dickinsons. Guys that were super effective elsewhere, but then came over to Vancouver and were nothing more than just regular old replacement level guys making significantly high amounts of money. Now, I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that Dakota Joshua goes out there and completely tanks his value like some of those players did, but I'm just saying there's room for caution here. And if the Vancouver Canucks are not confident that Dakota Joshua can play at a 40-point pace whilst bringing the physicality, whilst bringing the size and the able-bodied board play, then who knows what's going to happen in the free agency period, because if a team goes out there and sees Joshua's good from this season and they decide to give him $3.5 or $3.7 million a year, then Vancouver, it seems like they may be crap out of luck here. Now, I'm going to go out there and say this as well. I'm honestly pulling for Dakota Joshua to get as much gosh darn money as he can. Because, as we've talked about, he was a full-fledged NCAA guy. He played in the NCAA till he was 22 years old, and then had a whole bunch of other contracts bouncing around in the AHL and the ECHL even. He did get a cup of coffee at the NHL a little bit, but overall, Dakota Joshua's estimated career earnings is only in the $1.5 million range. A lot of these contracts that he signed, it was smaller, minor salary. He was only getting about $70,000 for playing in the AHL. Sure, you thank the heavens and the moon for being a pro hockey player and being able to play the sport for a living, but playing in the ECHL and the AHL getting $70,000 a year is a lot different than being evaluated at $3-point-something million a year on the free agent market. Depending on how long his next contract is, Dakota Joshua has an opportunity, a golden opportunity, to quintuple the amount of hockey playing earnings he would have gotten in his career. He's at $1.5 million right now. Let's say he signs a $3 million per season, 3-year deal. $9 million total over the next 3 seasons, and his total earnings go from $1.5 mil to about $10 mil in the span of 4 years or so. That could be life-changing. So obviously, if the Vancouver Canucks are not able to re-sign Dakota Joshua, which I'm starting to feel more and more is like an actually plausible outcome, it's probably best for him to go out there and get as much money as he can. Because, look, if a team goes out there and fully believes in Joshua, obviously I want him to uphold those standards. I don't want to see Joshua go over to some other team, make 3-point-something mil, and then just completely tank in the way that Jason Dickinson or Jay Beagle did here in Vancouver. That'd be pretty bad. But if he could actually provide significant value, and he can prove that he can do that night in and night out, then it's a win for everybody involved, right? It's just, for the Vancouver Canucks, is Patrick Allvin willing to take that risk and willing to embrace that potential setback? Because it's not guaranteed that he'll still be as good, but if he is as good and the Canucks are able to re-sign this guy, then hey, he could be one of the best middle six players the Canucks have had in a while. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Dakota Joshua and his potential next contract. If you had to wager bets, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd say Dakota Joshua probably gets something in the $3.5 million range per season. Whether it's with Vancouver or some other team, I have no idea at this point. But if you have your own predictions, you can feel free to leave them in the comment section below. How much do you think Dakota Joshua is going to re-sign for, or not re-sign for, just sign for? And do you think the Vancouver Canucks will be the ultimate team to walk away with him and his services? This has been an incredible career and a huge, huge bounce up from those AHL and regular tweener stints that he had over the years. And as the Donnie and Dolly crew also talked about on their show, not only is building an NHL team about finding the Dakota Joshuas, but also being able to find these Dakota Joshua-like guys for cheap, signing them to lower dollar amount deals, and having them provide significant value. Maybe the question isn't, oh, should the Canucks re-sign Dakota Joshua? It's, how can the Canucks find the next Dakota Joshua? The next guy who's going to be making $800,000, but scoring at a 40-50 point pace, whilst bringing up the penalty minutes and having all these extra intangibles with physicality, size, and immovableness in the front of the net. Not to mention his chemistry with Garland. Oh man, that is so, so good. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, what are your thoughts on the Dakota Joshua extension conversation? Does he come back to Vancouver? Does he leave? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.